in the state, we have had an inquiry into cannabis prohibition. It is long overdue. It is time for us to relook at this issue and the true socio-economic cost of cannabis prohibition, and also the benefits of cannabis prohibition. That's the job of this House, to be a House of review. That's the job of this committee. And it's an issue that traverses so many parts of our community, from health to law enforcement, youth, to the elderly, the criminal justice system, the judiciary, and the Treasury itself. The Premier, at a recent budget estimates, when I asked him about the cost of the war on drugs, he said it ran into billions of dollars. I also asked the Treasurer whether or not he agreed. He agreed. He said that this was a prohibition on drugs, and cannabis included, was costing the government billions of dollars. And the point I was making at that budget estimates was that illicit cannabis, in the words of some of our most senior police, was the rocket fuel of some of our most terrible organised crime groupings. It was a start-up model, in my words, for how some people were funding their organised crime operations. And it's one of the principal reasons, Mr Deputy President, that Germany just this month has moved to legalise cannabis, because of the impact it's having on their economy, the cost to the Treasury, but also the returns it's delivering to the organised crime in the black market. So the reference is to look at the historical development and implementation of the regulatory framework for cannabis, the socio-economic impact of the current regulatory framework for cannabis, the historical, current and future financial cost of cannabis prohibition to the government and the economy, the impact of the current regulatory framework for cannabis on young people, the health system, personal health, employment, road safety, crime and the criminal justice system, and the impact of the regulatory framework for cannabis on Aboriginal, LGBTQI+, regional, multicultural and lower socio-economic communities. And that's a key point for me, because it's regional and rural people who are often caught in the gears of cannabis prohibition. It disproportionately impacts on minorities like LGBTI+, Aboriginal and First Nations people from multicultural backgrounds, and regional Australians. There's a reason that the legalised cannabis vote is biggest in the Hunter Valley and the Central Coast and Western Sydney and mid-North Coast, because they're the lower socio-economic areas. It is considered a working class drug, and it's impacting on them more disproportionately. So this proposal is for us to look at the current framework, the cost, the benefit, neutrally. Of course, I've got a view, but the committee will work in an unbiased way. So I think it's an inquiry that's long overdue. And, Mr Deputy President, it's timely now to refer it to this committee as we head towards a possible drug summit, as announced by the government. In the lead up to the election, which I understand is going to happen this year. Now, the reason that this committee is the best committee to look at it is because it is looking. Because it has such. That's right. It's an excellent committee, but also because, as I said, I'll finish by saying the Premier himself has said that the cost of prohibition and the war on drugs is costing our Treasury billions. And so we need a whole-of-government response to this issue, and it's an opportunity for us to assess that cost, assess that benefit, and look at alternatives to a regime that has been in place in this state in terms of cannabis for coming up to 100 years. So I commend the motion.